Hello and welcome to another my NT to ND marriage video where I am the NT married to somebody who is neurodiverse. How is your marriage? Hubby was asked that by a guy that he works with recently. It's a new guy he hasn't worked with before, and that guy randomly asked him that question. I asked Hubby, what do you suppose made him ask you that question? And he explained that he'd been talking about how he does a lot of shift work and he's away a lot, and he thinks that's why that guy was asking. Like, you're away a lot, how's your marriage going? And, I think that's a fair point. It makes a lot of sense. And then I asked him, what was your reply? And he said, could be better. Now, I sort of think, was he being introspective when he said that? I think that's maybe something we all kind of wish for, but it's very doubtful that that was the case. Because a little while later I said, do you think that guy asked you because maybe his marriage is struggling? And he said, I don't think so, because when he came home, because my hubby and he work together, my hubby drops him off. When he drops this guy off, his wife comes kind of rushing out the door, runs over, gives him a hug and starts helping him carry all his bags in. And my hubby says, you don't do that for me. So it seems like that guy's marriage is pretty decent. And it seemed like that when hubby saw that, he maybe had a thought of, my partner doesn't do that. But not extending beyond, why doesn't she do that? And so I said to him, do you think that there might have been a situation where that wife went away for 3 days with her friends and came back and the husband said, I didn't miss you at all? And my hubby kind of looks at me like, where are you going with this? And I said, and then he said, no, he doesn't think that the man did that to his wife. And I said, well, that's probably why she rushes out, gives him a hug and helps him with his bags, because he did that to me. And that's the interesting thing, is that, okay, our marriage could be better, but I don't think that he really sort of thinks about the steps that have led to where we are today. I remember in the beginning, he used to come home and I used to greet him at the door, hear him coming, so I'd go over to the door, try to give him a hug and a kiss, and how are you, how's your day, And he kind of pushed me away. He'd be like, move, you're in my way, I'm trying to walk through when you're, stopping me from getting to where I want to go. And that just kind of in the end made me not do that after a while. As I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, when the kids came home, when he came home, I'm frazzled now, my mind is all over the place. When he came home and the kids would run up to him, little toddlers so excited to see Dad, and he'd crouch down and give them these big squeezy cuddles and so excited to see them. And of course I'm thinking back to the time where I used to try and greet him and he'd push me away. And so I say to him, how come you are different with the children? To which he replies, well, they're excited to see me and you're not. And I think he meant in that point in time, like in that moment, by the time we have the children, they're excited to see him and I'm like, another day, another dollar. But he didn't think about the start when he and I first met and how I was excited to see him back then and he would push me away. So again, he's not relating the instances to each other. Add to that, it's probably very doubtful that this guy whose wife came out and gave him a hug would push her away and tell her she's too clingy if she wanted to sit next to him on the couch, which is what my partner was doing with me when we first met. I would want to sit with him at the end of the day, because we've barely spoken, and I would want to sit with him cuddled up on a couch, chatting while the ads are on or something, and he was pushing me away saying, get away from me, you're too clingy. So again, he's creating this distance between us and then surprised when there's distance between us. Add to that, of course, when he comes home, he fault finds. So if I go back to, say, when the toddlers were little, one of the reasons why I wasn't jumping all over him when he came home was because he was really critiquey by then, majorly fault finding. And even though he simmered down a bit, even a little while ago there was an instance where he was away for a few days, comes home, and I've decided to go shopping and cook up this storm so that we can have this nice big meal as a family, sit at the table and eat. And he comes home and at first he's like, oh my God, wow, you went shopping. Wow, you never go shopping. What's going on? This is great. But then he says, did you get dog food? I said, no, I didn't know we needed any. And then he says, and have you picked up the dog crap today? And I'm like, count to 10. And then he says, and what's with this toaster? How long's it been here? When's it going to get put away? When are you going to put it away? And I'm like, And so finally I say to him, can you just stop? I'm trying to cook a meal, listen to my music, be in a good mood, and you're coming home and you're wrecking it. And he kind of walks away. And that's what I mean by it, again, causing distance, creating distance. When you come home and the words out of your mouth are critiques, they don't form warm and fuzzy feelings. You know, they don't build warm and fuzzy feelings. They make a person want to do the opposite of go out and hug you and carry your bags in. They make a person want to hide up in the back rooms and pretend that you're not home. You know, so yeah, it's fascinating to sort of like I can see the correlation between it, but he can't. And I'm pretty sure when he said our marriage could be better, he was not meaning anything he could have done. He was meaning that I'm not warm and fuzzy anymore. Anyway, it's an interesting fact too. He's going away for 4 weeks with some friends. And somebody said to me, if that were my husband, I'd be so annoyed that he's going away for 4 weeks with mates and I'm not going, you know. And I was like, yeah, nah, I don't care, you do you. To me, it's 4 weeks of me being able to relax, do whatever I want to do, not do whatever I don't want to do. I won't have to worry about him critiquing. I won't have to worry about him being in bad moods when he comes in the door. It's just all these things. It just won't be thought processes. It's just very relaxing when he's not around. So I don't mind that he's gone away for 4 weeks. It's like that other friend of mine whose husband started shift work, and she was asking me, does it bother you that your husband doesn't call you while he's gone? Because her husband usually calls her nightly, and then this one night he didn't call, and she was kind of feeling a little upset by that. And I was thinking, yeah, I can't relate to that at all. I don't care that he doesn't call me, and I don't want him to call, actually. And so on that note, I spoke in a previous video about how our phone calls go and how I've said to him, please don't call me. Oh, shoot. I mean, could be better. It's kind of comical, our marriage. But anyway, he says, can we try again with the phone calls? Because he doesn't actually want to go away to work and not speak with me. And I said to him, I'm not sure I can really do it because we've spoken so many times about it. Me raising the issue and saying, why don't you find interesting subjects to talk about? Like watch the news and then talk to me about something interesting you saw. Flirt with me. Inquire about, things that are interesting to me, or even talk to me about things that are interesting to you, as opposed to how are the kids, how are the dogs, how's the house, what did you do all day? I don't care. I don't want to talk about those things. Nothing's changed, and if it has changed, I'd let you know. I want to talk, like actually get to know the person, have that person get to know me, asking me how the kids are and how's the house going. Stiff shit in a bit, really. It's nothing much of nothing. And so I finally said to him, look, I can't keep doing this with you, having these mundane phone calls. And I kid you not, he'll call me up on Monday, how's the house, how's the kids, how's the pups, what do you have for dinner? And then Tuesday it's the same questions again, Wednesday's the same questions again, and I'm like, I can't keep doing this, I just cannot. And I have tried changing subjects and doing all these different things and it isn't working. Anyway, so he says, can we try again? And I'm like, look, you say that. I get a lot of, I'm going to try harder, I'm going to do better, I'm going to do more, I'm going to present as a wholly different person than who I am. And that's impossible for him. It's impossible for many people to not be who they are. And so, yeah, on the note of him going away and me being upset by that or needing to speak to him or anything like this, no, I don't really care. How good's your marriage? Yeah, it's not great because of a lot of things that he's done that have created distance between us. And some of it's no fault of his own, it's just traits of his spectrum. And others, it's just traits of his personality, like the critiquing. I don't think all people on the spectrum critique. I'm just one of the lucky ones. So our marriage could be better, but at the same time, it can't. It cannot be any different to what it is now, and there's all manner of things that have happened that have put us in this really cold and distant space. At the same time, we still kind of, laugh together and joke together, and even now we'll sit on the couch together and watch Netflix, and he'll actually snuggle up to me. So he's changed in that regard. But yeah, anyway, how's your marriage? Drop a comment below. Love to hear from you, and thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I really do appreciate it.